Hey there, Kindle Kids. It's Mr. King here again with another video. This is a project with op art cubes, which is meant for the older grade levels, mainly 4th and 5th grade, and 6th depending on where we are with time, but that is not something that you need to shy away from. If you want a 3rd grader, you want to attempt this, you definitely can. But you definitely need some parental help if you're in the younger grade levels. Anyways, let's get cracking on this. So check this out. What we need to do is, first up, we need some good paper for this. For this project, I want you to have either cardstock or the laminated cardboard you'd get from a cereal box or any other box like that. You know, a little thicker that you can deal with. You're gonna want some heavier duty scissors, so you're gonna want your parents to help out with this. You can muscle through with kid scissors, but it's a little more challenging. All right, so that's the big thing, along with the fact that you want to make sure you got some glue on hand and some Scotch tape, along with your regular drawing materials. Markers, I think, are best for this project. So the first thing you're going to do is take your paper or your cardboard, and you're going to figure out how wide, not how tall, but how wide is your cardboard or cardstock. And what you need to do is make squares out of that paper. So you're going to want to use a ruler, and you're going to want to figure out, or whatever you can in that sense, and figure out how far of a square you can make. So if you've got a 4-inch wide rectangle, then you have to make it a 4-inch by 4-inch square. If you've got a 5.5-inch, which this happens to be, which is a regular half sheet of paper, then you're going to want to do a 5.5 by 5.5 inch. Okay, so you got to make the square first. Pause this video here, make your squares. You're going to need 2 of them, okay, that are the same size. Now, the smaller the squares you start with, the smaller the cubes you finish. So the 5.5 by 5.5 is going to make this 2-inch planed cube, or 2.5-inch, 2 3/4 inch cube, planed cube here. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my math. But anyways, this is what we're starting with, and here's how we do it. So first up, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold your paper twice. Doesn't matter which half you do. You can't say a hamburger or hot dog because it's a square. So you just fold it both ways until your folds create a plus sign. Now, if you want to help yourself a little bit to see where one square ends and one begins, you can feel free to use your marker and to just trace down that folded line. And that is totally okay to do, all right? You do the same thing to your other square. Put this thing off to the side. So remember, you fold it one way and then fold the other. You're looking to create a plus sign on your paper. And I do recommend going across these edges. Again, you will see a black outline if you do it like I am, but I don't mind that at all. But it does help you see where one square is and another begins. So on these ones that I actually printed out for my students, it says glue here, because that's where I want to remind kids this is going to be glued down. You're not going to see it. But on yours, if you don't want to write glue, I mean, you could write glue on these, so you can write glue. It doesn't matter which square you choose, it really doesn't. But you could also just put an X there. It's just to remind you, don't bother making a pattern there because you're not going to see it. So the next part is we're going to make op art patterns. Now, one of the easiest ones that I think is a lot of fun to do is just to create an X and then a plus sign on one of your squares. And then around the center of that X, you create any number of repeating lines. You can just do kind of a target, or you can do like weird, wild, wavy lines, any way you want to. And from there, you create a checkerboard. So anytime, this is all the rule is for it really, is just that every time you change your colors across here, you just don't want to have the same color side by side really. So there's one little mistake here, but we don't care about that at all. So even if you make the mistake, it's really no big deal. It doesn't mess the pattern up too much. You could do other things like spiraling colors. So this is this is a little more challenging, but really cool. Or you could just do cool interlocking shapes by just creating strange geometric patterns that just kind of grow off of each other, and then changing the colors between them. Trust me, it doesn't need to be super complicated. One of my other favorites is overlapping shapes. So if you make something like a semicircle and you keep making them, you can kind of make this scale effect. And then when you change colors on them, it just looks really cool as you work on it. And then you don't even need to worry about size and directionality. You can just kind of go crazy with this until you go completely off your square and off the paper. Boop. And there we go. And there's a really cool pattern too. So you can make any number of patterns you want. Now, we are trying to make half of a cube with each square. So what we need to do is we need to take our scissors and we need to cut on the line next to the X or the glue mark right here, okay? So either one of these two lines is gonna work out fine. So we're just gonna cut a straight line right along there, okay? Ta-da! Make sure you do it all the way to the corner. You gotta make sure it gets all the way there, or else this is gonna be problematic. Now, if you take this, the cool thing is you can actually see that this very easily becomes half the cube. Now, the one thing is because I folded this the opposite direction originally, you can see this one's just kind of curving right now. So I'd encourage you to pinch it until you make a nice 90-degree set of corners here, or vertices, which is kind of cool. And then you've got your half of a cube. So what you're gonna do now is actually do what it says right here, and you're going to glue on that one square. If you have tape and you wanna make tape rolls, that will work, but I do think glue is the preferred item. Try to line up your edges best you can, because the better you do it here, the better it is in the end, and you glue it together. And there's my half of a cube, already done. So what I'll do actually is I promised a student I would help them complete theirs, didn't have time in class. So let's do that. Let's add some glue to glue spots. Let's put theirs together for them. Now you can see as you add a lot of marker, you can get this curling here. And so I would just say before you finish, just try to lay those curls down, because it really does help out when you get going to put these together in the end. Okay, so there's one half of my cube put together. This one, I'm gonna add glue over here. They didn't finish the last square of there, so they're just gonna have to do that while the cube is together, but they told me they wanted it together, so we're doing them a favor. So glue, do a little anti-curling here in case the ink curled your paper because you put so much on there. Nice pattern here too, look at the spiral there. This is kind of neat too. Very well done project here we're putting together, so that's great. So we've got our two halves. Now if you try to put it like this, you can make a box, which is pretty cool on its own. So since they didn't finish this one, I'd actually say this one is a good candidate to make like a cool decorative box. But if you want to make the cube, you need to turn it so they interlock completely, okay? And that will make your cube. So the last thing you need is your Scotch tape. So you're gonna take pieces of Scotch tape. I like to go with about 1 inch size, and let me show you, there's a method to doing this the right way, which is don't go the long way across, it just looks sloppy. Go parallel with your edge and stick half of your tape on with half of it sticking off. Now take your other cube that interlocks, line it up where you want it, and then smooth down that edge over, like wrap it around and over to the side that you just made. Now right here is the time when you want to really slow down and be careful. If you rush doing the tape job, you're gonna take an amazing piece of art and you're just gonna make it look sloppy. So please guys, take your time, do this the right way. So you can see I'm trying to be very careful about lining it up where I want it. Then I'm gonna curl it over and I'm gonna pinch it down. If I have a little bit of tape that kind of sticks out right there, that doesn't really bother me. I could always trim out with the scissors, but I don't think I need to do that. All right, so I've got 2 pieces done. Let's go for number 3. And you really wanna do every edge here. It isn't essential to hold the cube together, but it is to make the cube feel kind of more polished and finished, which is what we're going for. So you're just gonna kind of keep turning it and looking for those edges that you had not taped together yet. There's number 4, here's number 5. We'll have one more to do. Just half on, half off, smooth it down. It's kind of like this little pinching here. You kind of make a little spot. Make sure your glue really gets a chance to get good purchase and adhere. And so we got one more we haven't taped yet. Even though that isn't essential to tape, I still like to do it just to make sure all edges are taped down. Okay, and that's it. Check out that cube. Ho ho! It's pretty awesome. So that's the end of our cube right here. It looks, I think this one really looks great. I just want them to do that one last side here, but that's not impossible at all while the cubes are together. But I do think it's easier to work while these are flat. So that being said, you know, pretty cool. So those are the cubes. That's how you do it. I hope you guys have a blast with it. It is challenging. You might have problems with it. And remember guys, it's absolutely okay to make mistakes. There's no such thing as the art police. You know, they will not come barging through your door telling you made a mistake and you're in trouble. You can make as many mistakes as you want. Really, the better artist you are, the more willing you are to make that mistake and move on and fix it. So, you know, go for it. And if you want to do something different, like I do have one on my desk that has a face on it, kind of like Minecraft style. I made like a Minecraft version of myself where you could do like a creeper face or something that works really well. You could end up deciding to make this into a dice and do something more creative with like each numeral piece, because a dice is a cube. You know, how many sides do you have? Kids like to say 4, but 1, 2, 3, 4 lateral sides, and then a top and a bottom to make 6. So you got 6 sides. You've got 1 through 6 on a dice. I think you guys can figure out how to get that one done. There's a lot of different cool things you can do with making the cube, but I like doing the op art ones because I just think it's really cool to have these ones to look at with different patterns on every side. Okay? So I hope you guys have a blast. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you again for another project later. Bye.